Hello and welcome to PM Personality Profile. My name is Nanan Sakwao the Fourth. Today I am starting the show with our first personality who is literally a firebrand, burning inside. A veteran who thinks the nation has dealt him a very hard blow and is asking the question, is this a country to die for? I am talking to John Alex Hammah, trade unionist, a politician and an author. What a life story he has. On the 12th of January was his birthday and he was 78. When he was 37, on the same day, he was sentenced to death. Probably the only man alive to be sentenced to death on his birthday. You want to stay tuned and listen to his life story. It's going to be very, very interesting. Well, hello and welcome to 2015. Yes. This is the first, should I say, actual personality profile for 2015. You've seen a couple of reruns of the best moments of 2014, and now we are here and ready to run the show even bigger than what we did last year. Thank you very much for staying tuned and joining us last year, and I promise you this year is going to be even better. And guess what? We are starting with a birthday boy. You know, on the 12th of January was his birthday. He was 78 years and still going strong. And I'm here to talk to the man I told you who has a wealth of history under his belt, and we need to tap it. And that's why we're here today. We're talking to John Alex Hammah. You are welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And yes, I know the Hamatan is got your voice, but we'll squeeze it out.
Yes. I've been not well, but I'm a healthy man. And the Hamatan is doing its own thing with me.
It's doing its own thing
and
with everybody.
as I was coming for an interview, I was worried what my boss would do, so I would try to do something for them.
You'll be fine. But how are you feeling today?
I am feeling fine, although every 12th of January, I feel two things. That I'm happy to be a human being alive, and also I think about what I suffered in prison.
You reflect.
So for the past 41 years, I've never actually enjoyed my birthday.
Really?
Because for you to be sentenced to death by firing squad on your birthday is not something very easy. Yeah. And I think even the Guinness Book of Records, I possibly be the first person in the world to be sentenced to death on his birthday, announced by the government in the official announcement that the man we are going to shoot him and who's been sentenced to death by firing squad, today is his birthday.
It was actually announced?
It was announced to the whole world, officially by the Ghana government.
You haven't been able to let go?
Pardon?
You haven't been able to let go after all these years?
Oh, if I'm a man with a divine shock absorber, if I had felt sorry for myself and thought of all that I went through, I won't be like this.
Just let viewers know that Mr. John Alex Hammah is an author, he's a journalist, and also a politician and a trade unionist. So this is a man who has served his country in one way or the other. We're going to go back and find out how come that on his 37th birthday, it's been announced that he's been sentenced to death. What a story. So you wrote your book, sold it, got some money out of it, met a soldier or general friend of yours who was supposed to supply cattle, because cattle farming back then was the main business. But somehow you were suspected of trying to overthrow the government. How? Why would they think you want to overthrow the government?
First of all, I am a trade unionist, a workers' leader. And some period in my life, as a trade unionist, we had problem with the Convention People's Party. I was an Nkrumahist, total one. And we are the people who helped Nkrumah to be the Nkrumah he was, because Nkrumah was with the elite. And he disagreed with them and wanted to form his own party. But to get the support, he had to get the support of the working class. And he was able to get John Tetteka, who was our leader, to become his partner in politics. So with Tetteka and some of us, we were able to help Nkrumah in the process of liberating Ghana from the shackles of imperialism and colonialism. At a certain stage, I was about 22, small boy, but I was so powerful in the trade union movement because we were not receiving salary. We didn't know what we were doing that time. We had a common enemy, the imperialist government. So we have somebody to fight. We were not fighting for money. So for years in the TUC, we didn't have pay. There was no check-off system, which makes it possible for a trade union leader to earn about 20 to 30 million a month or something like that. No pay. We had to go from shop to shop, office to office, to collect tuppence to pay something for ourselves to food. So in the process, Kwame Nkrumah from the CPP, we helped him, and he brought some poor people too, like us, to join. And you know what happened? The CPP people became overnight warlords, not in war, but in financing and money. We saw people who entered the party, they had nothing, becoming very rich. So we are not. And we didn't force, we influenced Nkrumah to make the joint, as they call the Dawn broadcast, okay, which affected people like Barima, Butu, and some of them. In this exercise, the Nkrumah government thought it was Dankwa, Busia, and others were influencing us. I, as a person, I never knew Dankwa. I only saw him on a political platform and once on the traffic. So when things were difficult in this country, especially in 1961, general strike, the workers felt that the budget could not be accepted because they thought even to own a fridge was a luxury. So labor leaders like Baden, Victor Quist, Agbo, now in Tema, and some of them, they closed the ports, and workers were in disarray throughout the country. In fact, to this standard, the soldiers were eating with soldiers who were even guarding broadcasting house. You go there. And I myself, I entered broadcasting with a group of people to broadcast to the nation. You know why that happened? Because Nkrumah had left the country. So we sent John Tetteka to meet Nkrumah, I don't know whether in Yugoslavia or somewhere, to talk about the situation in the country. They called a meeting at the Flagstaff House for us to vote against the workers on strike. I was among the 3 people who refused, among hundreds of us, refused to raise their hands. It's my nature. So after some time, they thought we were enemies of the state, and we were being supported by Busia, Dankwana. I didn't know them. But Busia I knew when I was a small boy. He was a friend of my uncle, R.C. Mensah, who was the housemaster of the Commander Teacher Training College. He later founded the Aguna State College, which I became a student. And Busia was the chairman of the college council. Sometime even Busia came there on a ceremonial day and gave me Latin for today, book 2, for being the best student in English and Latin. So Busia knew my name as Kwabra for a long time until I met him in exile, but I'm coming. So we felt that it was all the opposition, but the government thought we were being maneuvered by the opposition. So a stage came. I got a scholarship from the World Federation of Trade Unions, the Communist Trade Unions, to study in Russia. They gave us a date to go to Russia. But 3 weeks to the time, somebody stopped me on the traffic. SS Shadow, who was the national organizer of the Young Pioneer. He said, Alex, where's your passport? I say, are you the director of passport? He said, you are to go to Russia. I said, I know I should go to Russia as a student, but the time is not yet. Then later, they called me, they prepared us to go to Russia in advance to the opening of the university. So the day we went to the airport, the national anthem was being played, and I saw General Alexander, the commander of the Ghana army, who had been sacked and deported back to Britain. So the plane was full, and they put the trade union leaders. I sat on the floor of the plane. There was no seat for me, from here to London.
Really?
Yes. Because it was not organized. So we were in London for 2 weeks, then went to Russia. In Russia, they put us in a room. No, not in a room. We were students in a Partizimoma University, though, but the Institute of International Trade Unionism. So as officers in the TUC, we were not in the campus with the workers. They gave us bungalows. Then we went to the bungalows. No water, no electricity for 2 weeks.
Was it cold?
Very cold. It was a form of punishment because we have been regarded as rebels here. Cutting the matter short, we finished our university education. But one night I was asleep and God told me, don't go to Ghana. Don't go to Ghana, I'll tell you twice. I took the advice and the instruction, the divine one. So I organized. But before that, in 1958, I was given scholarship by the Western World Trade Unions, International Confederation of Free Trade Union, before the communist one. At that college, I met a lady who is a platonic girlfriend. Sorry, girlfriend, please, be careful. Platonic girlfriend, and he was in London. So I wrote her, used some network to tell her that she should send me a letter that we were going to marry in London, and if I should fail to come, she would take me to court. I was aware of the Russians, their good points, bad points, and weak points. The Russians are people, they like birthdays and weddings. So for 2 weeks, sometimes I wept in the classroom. And then they reported to the university authorities. You know, to leave Russia, you can't enter Russia that time and come back. It was an iron curtain. So they reported, they said Alex Hammah was doing something, so the chancellor or somebody called me, what is the matter? Then I showed him a letter from the girl, so we will help you. So they organized a special occasion of graduation and gave me my diploma, whatever you call it. And then I got Mr. Gabriel Atitobe, who was the director of information of the Trade Union Congress. He was a student, and told him that he should accompany me to London for my wedding as my best man. He never knew, I never told him. So we flew from London in an airfreight aircraft. Reaching London, for 3 days we were in an Indian man's hotel. We never had money to eat, we had only 10 shillings. But we managed to survive because I learned from Gandhi's books that when you are starving or you are in detention, you fear poisoning, you can rely on hot water with salt. For at least a week, you will not be sick. So we were drinking hot water with salt for 3 days. Then the stewards thought we were ghosts. So these people were not eating or something. Then later, I went and saw Christiama, the High Commissioner, and told him, he said, oh, we knew you were in London. Then I told him we didn't have money. You should contact Tetega to give us part of our... I will come to this very shortly. part of our salaries in Ghana. They send a 3-month salary. With that, we launched the Ghana Democratic Party. I was given asylum in Britain during the time of Macmillan. Then at some stage, I was told by the Metropolitan Police that my life was in danger. So that was around 1962-63. Sir Abubakar came for the Prime Minister's conference, and I contacted him, and they agreed that I should enter Nigeria. So I went to Nigeria in exile. I was in Nigeria for 5 years. Then the coup came, and I was the first Ghanaian to enter Ghana.
We're going to take a break and come here and listen to this exciting story. I told you, you are going to learn some history today. Don't even move. We're coming back. Welcome back, and thank you very much for staying. We're talking to Mr. John Alex Hammah, trade unionist, an politician, and a hustler, if I may say. Now you are in Nigeria. What a fascinating story.
No, I'm coming. I won't go in details there.
Okay.
I came to Ghana. When I came to Ghana, I was the first Ghanaian to enter Ghana when Nkrumah was overthrown. No Ghanaian could come here. So at the airport, I was arrested by the army. They took me to the Trade Union Congress. Then I met Mr. Bentum, who was General Secretary of the Agriculture Workers Union. But he had been, and also became Minister of Forestry under Nkrumah. So when the army seized power, they immediately appointed him Secretary General. But when Alex Hammah arrived, the workers of Ghana heard Alex Hammah had come. So they all rushed. They wanted me as Secretary General. But Bentum had been appointed by the army. So you know the situation. There was a fight and confusion here and there. And the workers had set the Trade Union Congress on fire. They have destroyed so many things. So later, that gentleman of the NLC regime, Mr. A.K. Deku, although he's a top police officer, intelligence, he's a wonderful person. As a policeman, he will listen to you. So they told me to have patience and help to organize the TUC. Otherwise, without the Trade Union Congress being proper form, NLC, the military could not rule Ghana. So some members of the executive board, they reconstituted and appointed me head of education and training department of the TUC. So I came to build a new cadre of administrators for the Trade Union Congress. So I was with the Tetega TUC, then another TUC after the regime. So I was director of education of the TUC. Then I established the Ghana Labour College to train the trade unionists. And today I want to take the opportunity to mention some names here. I'm sorry for my voice.
No, it's fine. I can hear you.
People, some some patriotic Ghanaians, they agreed to teach in the Labour College even without emolument. A person like Justice V.C.R.A. Crab, a person like Professor Mrs. Greenstreet, a person like G.K. Agama, who became Governor of Bank of Ghana, and a person like that politician and great lawyer, Kwekuba. These people, we invited them to become the first lecturers of the Labour College when I was the rector. So these are people, today I want Ghanaians to know, when we talk about the TC and workers, not us alone, Tetega and others. There are people who have helped Ghana for the stability and unity and tranquility we enjoy today. Agama, now is late. Kwekuba, the lawyer of the yes. Mrs. Professor Greenstreet, and Honorable Justice UCRA Crab. I'm sure they will be happy to hear this because we write history and we forget people. So we talk of Ghana labor and the stability, the labor front and peaceful industrial relations. These people contributed very, very well to it. Because that time we were called communists. And sometimes you feel sorry that you became a trade unionist because society looked down upon you. Without us, all these developments would be impossible. So during that period, later, I left the TUC and became a bit political. A coup came by General Champon. And before that, I had written a book because Nkrumah, when they overthrew him, he was becoming unpopular. And Mandela was taking the mantle of Africa. So I wrote a book called Farewell Africa, Life and Death of Nkrumah. The book was to be published, or printed rather, by the Ghana Publishing Corporation at Tema. My house is about a few yards from that place now, by destiny. I sent the manuscript to them. They were almost printing the paper. Ghanaians, we have one problem of Kweku Anansi, who is our national hero, our traditional hero, a very nice man, but a total hypocrite and underminer. So Ghanaians heard that Alex Hammah was bringing a book on Nkrumah, and the state, Champon announced that nobody should write anything or print any cloth on Nkrumah.
But I thought...
I'm coming. They announced it. So I nearly fainted. I wrote the state corporation and collected a manuscript and went to Nigeria. And the Nigerian press, they took it, printed it, and launched the book with Nkrumah's life history on television. And this became an international sensation. I made a lot of money and came to Ghana. Why I contacted the soldier was not to make a coup. He was not a cattle dealer. He was the chairman of a committee on cattle who were keeping at the Tate Fair site because there was no meat in the country. And then I decided to use some of the money to buy a lot of cattle for the country from Nigeria. In the process, you know me already, very frank, I was a bit critical of the Champon government. So anytime I met them, I was criticizing them. So I was put down as an enemy of the regime. I don't want to go in details. So something happened, and I was arrested that I'd given money to the soldier for a coup d'etat.
But was Champon not an Nkrumahist?
Whether he was Nkrumahist or not, I'm just telling you the facts.
No, I'm just amazed that
I don't know him as an Nkrumahist. That's what people are saying. Who's an Nkrumahist? How many people can get hungry for 1 month to talk about Kwame Nkrumah? People talk like they are pro-Hammah, they are pro-this and that, because they can eat. But that time we were sacrificed. I didn't know a Champon as a supporter from Nkrumah. So I was sentenced to death by a foreign court. So this is the story. So this when I printed the book, I had a lot of money. I went to Nkrumah's mother. When Nkrumah died, I gave the highest donation. I arrived there 10:30 in the night, or 11. Nkrumah's mother was afraid. He said, Alex Hammah. I said, Alex, Kwame Nkrumah ne ba warashe. Nipa mi put in the bano. She allowed me to go to Nkrumah's grave 12 o'clock in the night. And the schnapp I was holding, we didn't have a tumbler to do. Then when I asked for a glass and we didn't have, the schnapp fell from my hand and we drank it from the floor. And that Nkrumah's body was there, 12 midnight. And that money I dedicated in my book that the book, I have removed it, but I can show you somewhere, for the education of Nkrumah's children. I said I was educating the money for the man was a so-called anti-Nkrumah. I was educating the money for the education of Nkrumah's children. And to prove it, this is the book. I have stated that in my book here, that when I was in the condemned cells, Mrs. Nkrumah got a copy of that book in Cairo. And she wrote a letter to me, thanking me of doing something to educate Nkrumah's children. And it directed me to her bank account in Cairo. She wrote a letter to General Champon, letter to me. She didn't know I was in the condemned cells. So General Champon sent people to send me a letter in the condemned cell. And the soldiers forced me that I should reply. I replied, Madam Fatah, that I am in the condemned cell to be executed any moment. And I think perhaps that letter they gave her with her prayers contributed to God's desire to release us. But as I've said, this thing, I have put it in the book, which is official. This book was printed by Daily Graphic. I paid millions for it. And I will tell you, at some period...
At the time, what was the amount you donated?
I can't tell. I can't tell. But condemned cell. I will show you. Because you have to be careful. We tell the condemned prisoner. Then, Madam Fatia sent this letter.
$56,000 at the time was a lot of money.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Yes, here. Page 32. Also in the condemned cell, I received a letter from Cairo, Egypt, from the widow of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. Madam Fataya, she had sent it some months earlier, unaware that I was in jail. I replied informing her of my situation and asked her for her prayers. Madam Fatia wrote congratulating me for writing the book, Farewell Africa, Life and Death of Nkrumah. I wondered why General Champong's government allowed the letter to be sent to me in my death cell. A special messenger from the castle was around to collect my reply from the prison authorities.
I see.
So, you want to know something about prison or something?
No, I mean, 56,000 CDs back then. I mean, that was a lot of money.
Yes.
How many copies did you sell?
Oh, even when I came from prison, I went to the publishing corporation. Ghana, nobody gave me penny. I came with the address I went to prison with. And any time I pass, you hear people say, Kwasia, even people who want to give me some job, they will tell Mr. Hammah, they know I'm a competent person as a consultant in many fields. But later they will tell you, oh, come tomorrow. The next day, you go. Then you get some messengers, workers later of me. They will tell you, Masa, something like that.
The prison was very hard.
Yes. So, the money was from the book. I saw the book in Liberia, in Sierra Leone, in Ghana here, and throughout Nigeria. by Delhi Times. And some Ghanaians were saying that time I could open a bank.
This money was obviously taken away from you.
Yes.
During the raid. Has it ever been refunded?
Oh, that's another story. I was in the condemned cells for about 7 months. But before the condemned cell, I was in military custody by the Ghana Armed Forces for 7 months, where I was tortured daily. Physically beatings. They beat me to the extent that sometimes I forgot my name. It's all in the book here. But I survived. Question again. No, this very question. The one you just said.
I think we refunded the money back to you.
But I didn't want to make it in light that I went to prison. I wanted to tell you what I suffered. They tortured me and then sentenced to death on my birthday. I was 7 months in the condemned cell. Every day they opened the condemned cell to bring food. They will announce, "Yes, sir, 74 people ready to die at your command." Daily, about 5 times. So we saw death near and rare. So, to cut matter short, when I was sentenced, because General Quarters matter, Kufuor came to power, and he saw that we needed to reconcile the country. So they set up the National Reconciliation Commission of eminent personalities, both religious chiefs, businessmen and people like that. Then the National Reconciliation Commission sat down, called me, and had all this problem for days. So they called me and said, "Mr. Alex Hammah," this was said by General Eskin. I said, "Mr. Alex Hammah, you are a man of integrity at the commission. These are records." And then the commission came to the conclusion. But before that, they asked me, "Are you an Nkrumahist?" I said, "Yes." "You were a CPPist?" I said, "Yes, I was." "You went against Nkrumah," reasons I gave. Then Mr. Hammah, so many things. So they asked me, "You were not CPPist. How did you become Nkrumahist?" I say, "I became an Nkrumahist because the TUC became integral part of the Convention People's Party by law and political convention." Yes. And that is why I was against that idea. That made me to go to Russia in exile. I think you understand now. Then finally, they came to the conclusion that with what we have heard, the money they seized that you were going to make coup d'etat should be returned to you. I haven't got the money today. But what happened, the NPP, the government of President Kufuor, who was my friend, or is my friend, made a lot of propaganda with the National Reconciliation Report that the country has been reconciled, and gave the impression that John Alex Hammah has been paid his money. Before this propaganda, I was doing where? I was a consultant on energy. Although I'm a journalist and consultant, Ghana was in darkness. I got Italian engineers to help the electricity corporation. I approached Nana Kunadu, President Rowan's wife, fantastic woman, to make inroads for me to meet the board of directors of electricity corporation. I met all the ministers of energy,
I'm going to take a break here. So when I come from the break, we'll talk about, I'll come back. We'll talk about the current energy system. I want to talk about your presidential aspiration. If it's still there, stay tuned. This is getting exciting. Well, welcome back, and I'm sure that's not one program is not going to be enough for Mr. Hammah's story. We'll probably need 3 programs before we can capture all the story. Who knows? Maybe one day we'll get him back. But right now,
let me finish this.
Of course, I'll let you finish that.
The energy situation in Accra was serious, so I approached Nana Ajima Lawrence, Her Excellency, to help me facilitate contact with the Electricity Corporation Board of Directors. I went there with an electrical engineer, Italian. Accra was in darkness, and I got this Italian company and engineers to help Ghana always with light. Transformers, 30 years rotten and all. We were manufacturing transformers in Ghana. You can ask Dapa, you can ask Professor Kwe, you can ask Indum. All the energy ministers of NDC were dealing with me. So one day I met the Electricity Corporation Board of Directors with the Italian engineer. Then I don't know where Salasa Mensah or somebody was the chairman that time. I am not sure. He said, Mr. Hammah, you don't know anything about engineering and electricity. Are you an engineer? Because with my contacts and consultants in energy matters, I was becoming an engineer. So we negotiated with the people who were ordering transformers from Nigeria. And I was able to get the Italian company to manufacture. I couldn't get it very graphic. It published, and we were making transformers for Togo. Sometimes broadcasting, transformer off, we would repair it overnight. And we were making new transformers here. And Nana Kunedu helped me with that contract. So I was doing my business, no trouble. But when they announced, hold on, when they announced that they have paid me the money, people have done business with Nigeria. They had Alex Hammah got millions. So they came to demand their money from me, and I started suffering. So with this money, even I stopped the consultancy business, because with this money, I thought I could go into publishing. But Kufuor's government refused to pay. On my birthday, I went to the Attorney General Department to see the Deputy Attorney General. And I saw a gentleman I knew, he's like an ex-police officer, who had said something about me in the press with a lady. They said there's instruction from the president that I should not be paid that money. So there was a top civil servant, I don't want to mention him. I told the Deputy Attorney General to tell President Kufuor that this also Alex Hammah will overcome. And I want to tell you something very important, gentlemen. One important official of the Attorney General's department told me on telephone, and I can swear to God, that Alex Hammah, I'm not a fool to recommend this money to be paid to you. I have 5 children, and I don't want to recommend the money to be paid to you because I will go to prison. The man was a top official Attorney General Department. So I left the matter until there was change of government. Ultimately came the same trouble. It was difficult to see the Attorney Generals. I've been to the Attorney General Department about 120 times for the past 10 years. And then when Mrs. Idris came, I went there 40 times, I couldn't see her. One day I met her in the garage at the ministry. And I told her, they said they will give me some money. The money they wanted to give me was too small. According to the computation from Bank of Ghana, they gave me one of the least. So I said I will accept because I was sick. I was sick to the extent that the Ministry of Justice and Attorney General Department lent me 3,000 cedis to buy drugs, with the understanding that when I get the final payment, I would pay back. I got all these papers, and I appeared before the Parliamentary Accounts Committee with these details, and they were shocked. Dapa was the chairman. And Dapa said, with Alex Hammah, she couldn't be chairman because he likes me and I'm a friend. He may be bad. So he brought another person to be chairman that day. So I brought these facts I'm saying here in the records of Parliament. The one person, Attorney General, told me this, and Kufuor made sure I was not paid the money. And on the Atamis regime too, they paid me that small money. Then I paid again. Then the parliamentary committee said they will make sure they pay me the money. Then something happened, they changed it. Then they brought the sole commissioner. Then I went to the sole commission. I spoke. The judge nearly cried. Say, Alex Hammah, we know you as a man of integrity. You have suffered for Ghana too much. Why that small money they can't give you? Then he recommended to the Attorney General to order the Minister of Finance to pay me the money with the interest as directed by Bank of Ghana. 1 year, the Attorney General never took action. I don't know, but I heard in the wind that even they sent a reminder to pay Alex Hammah. Recently, I was so sick that I wanted to go to Lagos first and London for medical checkup. There are people in Ghana here, I went to prison, some of them are people, they go for medical check weekly. John Alex Hammah, one of the founders of Ghana Labour. I can't have medical checkup. You go to the drugstore, they give you drugs, 4 million. How do you pay? Buy them. So they didn't mind me. So on the 1st of November, I wrote a letter to Comrade John Dramani Mahama, the President of the Republic of Ghana. I call him Comrade. And by age, he could be my son. And told the President that the Attorney General is not serious like the one in Nkrumah's regime and Kufuor regime. So he should use his executive power to order the Attorney General to at least give me some money for medical treatment. I want to be frank. I went to the Flagstaff on 1 or 2 occasions. The staff there, some are fantastic, very respectful, especially in the office of the, how do you call it, Chief of Staff. I don't want to talk. They were very helpful and very concerned about my situation, my health status. But officially, I haven't got a reply from the President. So if a man like me, after sacrificing for this country, I'm sick, money due to me by law, which they are not paying, they should pay by commission with the interest. They can't give me small to buy drugs. It is very difficult to die for the Republic of Ghana. So I haven't got the money. And the commission, I understand they wanted to send a report by December. I think they announced. I don't know what they are going to say. But what I know, from there, the day I was with the commission, that the money should be paid me with interest as directed by the Bank of Ghana in their computation. Thank you.
How much is it worth in today's money?
I don't know. I don't know.
At the time, you could buy 10 to 12
houses. Yes. At that time, I could buy 15 houses and buy 10 cars. The money was not 56. The money was more than that. But 56 was what brought to the tribunal. And I'm a man. I don't want to talk unless it is necessary.
Wow. I knew you had presidential ambitions. I mean, you ran 2008.
This book I wrote about Nkrumah, I've decided to write it again, reprint it, and put something different about Ghana, and perhaps give to the Ministry of Education to give to the children. If you put 1,000 Ghanaian children, you ask, they don't know about Kwame Nkrumah. So I will do another sacrifice. Farewell Africa, Life and Death of Nkrumah, so that our youth will know his contribution. And I want to tell you about this book. I was making a lot of money on it. Then I saw that Ghana has problems. You go to prison, you see about 1,000 Ghanaians, they'll be weeping the night. They'll be cursing the government of the day. No food, no treatment, sodomy, some things going on. And then when I was in prison, sometimes they gave us food with the same plate of people who had tuberculosis. It's in this book. And I printed the book, paid almost about 60, about 60 million for it. And I'm a person, just now even I don't have bank account. In the sense that I've seen money before. And small people, they have money, they are driving a car, it's not you are walking. And I have not given up. There's no retirement in life until you die. If you're a great man, you don't retire. Kwame don't retire. Wisin Chacha has not retired. Buja has not retired. Because their names are there. So what I give this book, copy free, 50 CDs, 5 Ghana cities, 5 Ghana cities. Free, about 400 copies to Parliament. For the MPs to read. They didn't buy. How much is that money? I gave to the Trade Union Congress and my union, which I was one of the founders, the ICU. I gave ICU hundreds of copies. I gave copies to the Council of State, some to the police. Only I didn't give the army because they beat me. So this book is one of the books they were buying a lot, bookshelves, than any book. But I gave it free for member of parliament with the reason that I wanted the government to pay attention to the prison conditions. The conditions in our prison and police cells and the custodial system.
It's amazing you complain about that, because this is in the 70s and today the problem still probably persists or worse.
The problem is there. And this book contribution is that since I wrote this book, I give the people in Chirac and all, the prison is changing. Their computers, their medicine, they are paying attention. This book contributed. Because listening. I'm sorry, there's something here. Why did I read this book on the prison? It's very important. The prisoners are suffering. I'm sorry. Oh, see, too young to die, my ordeal in some condemned cell is a detailed narration of the tragic and nerve-wracking experiences of John Alex Hammah, a Ghanaian veteran trade unionist, journalist, public and industrial relations consultant and politician, who was sentenced to death by firing squad by a military tribunal on 12th of January, 1974. His 37th birthday, 37. The book reveals inter alia the physical, mental, and spiritual situation of Alex Hammah on death row, languishing in a dark, dank, dreaded, condemned cell in Ghana notorious prison. Now listen, I'll make it simple for you. I've written this book to tell the world what happened to me in military detention, in some death cell, and as a life prisoner. And in the process, reveal the physical and mental tortures I underwent, as well as the nerve-wracking experience I had on the death row awaiting execution. Now listen, I finish. I have also tried to lay bare the dehumanizing conditions under which Ghana's prisoners live. I hope by this to arouse the patriotic conscience of civil society, especially the chiefs, the bar association, the trade unions, the students, the youth, the religious organizations, to put continuous and sustained pressure on the government to take urgent measures to improve the conditions in the country's prisons. There is indeed the pressing need for positive reformation and transformation of the entire justice system of Ghana to help abate the horrid custodial conditions in our police cells and prisons.
Mr. Hammah, I want us to talk about UNIGOV. Union government coming together. Is that our solution?
No, you are making a mistake there. You are not a politician. There's nothing called UNIGOV now.
Not UNIGOV as in a champions UNIGOV, but coming together, the union.
What you meant, I don't mind, I'm talking to the public. It's my nature. I'm a trade unionist, so yes. The thing is that you are talking of unity government.
Okay, unity.
Don't say UNIGOV.
Don't say UNIGOV. Okay, unity government. Is that our solution? Because I know you sort of believe in that.
Alex Hammah calls for unity government.
Yeah.
The veteran trade unionist Alex Hammah has suggested national unity government in the near future to reconcile the country. This, when done, Mr. Hammah said, would help all political factions to reflect on the immediate national political past and together resolve to reform certain aspects of the country's administrative, legal, and democratic structures for the good of the country. It's a short-term coming. Additionally, Mr. Hammah said a unity government will enable politicians in non-partisan unity to take urgent, swift, practical, and effective measures to deal with the negative, corrosive, and devastating traits that have far too long undermined the development of the country. Mr. Hammah mentioned some of the negative developments include 1. Corruption, 2. Poverty, stealing, maladministration, crime, nepotism, lies, deceit, impunity, indiscipline, and chronic unemployment among others.
Do you still have the presidential aspiration?
No, I'm coming. This was very graphic. So this is what I mean by unity government. But recently, a very great man of the Vatican, Cardinal talks about national government of technocrats, which I have something against. Technocrats are the civil servants and others. Some of them are the cause of Ghana's troubles. And to have technocrats to form a government in this country, it is a mantra for confusion and added corruption. So unity government is important, but you cannot form unity government in vacuum. It must be by the government of the day deciding that the situation is so critical, we come together. So if you, for example, Ghana, and Hammah wants national government, as an occasion you talk, we should come together. Hammah can take telephone and call Akufo-Addo. National disaster, natural disaster, civil war or some national disaster, or the complete breakdown of the economy. Then the government of the day can call the people for them to get together. And they must have specific things to deal with a limited time, say 2 years, there will be national government, national unity government. Then you invite some of them in the cabinet to work on that program. When that the program is finished or almost finished, you can revert to democratic party system and elections. But some people call all winner takes all concept. Winner takes all. What does it mean? If people are corrupt, and you say, according to the Bishop Cardinal, you say whether you win or lose, then you eat bread or you don't have bread. So winner takes all is a useless theory. To just bring people in the government to join the corrupt people, they become corrupt because technocrats are there. You are a minister, they will tell you, they know that you are a minister, you don't have penny. The permanent secretary will come there, he will be Kakrawa, contractors. So they think that we should come together in a unity government if we want. And if the government wants, and they see the situation is critical, we should have come together to solve some specific normal problems for a period, then go to the elections.
Mr. Hammah, that's all time will allow me.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
The president's ambition. You asked another question.
I've run out of time. I've run out of time. So hopefully my producers will probably get in touch and then maybe we'll do a part 2 of this because there's more out of you that I need to get. But for now, thank you very much. And I want to say thank you to the viewers. Until next Friday that I come back with another personality, have a wonderful weekend.